Hello, loves. Hello, hello. It's Hills here from the Blue Flame Apothecary. How is everyone? It is delightful to be here with you to talk about the Sagittarius full moon. In fact, we are going to allow the Sagittarius full moon to help us explore time. There is let me feel, where are we going? I said explore time and everything got really big for a moment there. Really big for a moment there. And I can feel how much time is escaping from us. We are escaping from time, might be a better way to put that actually, in this moment. We're moving through new territory. New territory. We're going to begin with Uranus. I didn't even think we were going to go into Uranus in this update, but we are. Uranus, during this full moon, that's happening on the 3rd or 4th, depending on where you are in the realm of time on this globe, on this earth. It'll be about 8:48 p.m. Pacific time on Saturday the 3rd. So for most of the planet will experience this full moon on the 4th. During that peak illumination, as the moon has the full brilliance of the sun upon its surface and radiates that amazing spotlight down upon us here on this planet, Uranus, the planet of awakening, is in a very tight conjunction with Mercury and Vesta, our passions. Mercury is the messenger of the gods, the transiting, fast-paced motion of relaying messages rapidly between realms, between dimensions, between planes of existence. That's Mercury. In Taurus, our embodiment, our earthly beingness, the way that we manifest and that we grow our food, the way that we build the root structures for what's going to grow. That's the way it's coming in, is this Taurus energy. The earth. Taurus, it's coming in to share that Taurus can feel very slow, very lumbering. One of the ways we can feel into this is that time that it takes for the seed to germinate, to begin to crack open, and that little sprout to begin to rise slowly, 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 slowly through the soil until it finally breaks ground and we see that tiny, tiny little green frond, and it continues to grow, now being nourished even more by the bright light of the sun. So during this full moon, which a full moon is the reflection of the sun fully hitting the moon, so we have this amazing power of our sense of self, our outward expression of self, which is what the sun represents, hitting the moon in its fullness, which is our unconscious, and it brings that spotlight in. And the sun and the moon are not in Taurus, but Uranus conjunct Mercury, conjunct Vesta are. And there is a lot of energy in Taurus. They are not alone by any means during this full moon. Back to Uranus, the Great Awakener. We got here because we started talking about new territory. In the coming weeks, over the next couple of weeks, Uranus is about to go into new territory. By which I mean the degrees which Uranus is about to start traveling in, the 21st, 22nd, and onward into Taurus for the rest of this year, are degrees which we have not felt Uranus go through on this planet since 1939, 1940. So yes, there are people alive on the planet right now who were alive during that time, but there are not a lot of them. It's mostly redwoods. For whatever reason, maybe because we're talking about slow growth and earthly realms, I'm seeing redwoods, and they have experienced this. What it feels like this is offering to us energetically as a template to explore is what new ground, what new territory is opening up for you. And this is about time. This is about escaping time. It is about creating a new relationship to time. Because it's about new earth, right? What are we talking about when we're talking about that? We're talking about earth vibrating, becoming connected, and everything that lives within and within the earth becoming connected more easily to the dimension, to the vibrational frequency, to the electromagnetic energy that we call the fifth dimension, which means that it is vibrating beyond time, escaping time. So when we talk about Earth becoming fifth dimensional, coming into its fifth dimensional state, and all of us also on her and within her coming into our fifth dimensional capacity, what we're actually talking about is coming into a new relationship with time, where we are not held within that veil. We are not held within the veil of time any longer. What does that mean for us? Does it mean that we're going to dematerialize? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It means that our ability to transmute past events is getting stronger. When we are able to see the bigger picture, which means be able to see beyond time, we can forgive past events that we have been involved in, allow our forgiveness to flow more freely through that. We can make decisions going forward from a higher plane, from a truer plane, from a, is this in the highest good place? In the last energy update, I talked a lot about timeline shifting to unity consciousness. And I'm going to refer us back to that rather than really dive deep into this rabbit hole right now, because I do want to talk about the full moon. but it feels important to note that what we're talking about when we are talking about moving into our fifth dimensional capacities, it is this. It is this ability to move through time in a different way. Often, this could feel like time slippage, like you lost time. You hear that alien abductees talk about that a lot, right? Like, I was there, and then 5 hours later, I was there again, but I don't remember what happened. Time slippage. Or just an overactivity in the dream time. Like, you wake up from your dreams, and you're like, I don't feel like I slept at all. One of the ways that it's come through for me is the month of May itself. I'm recording this on the 31st, and as I was feeling into the fact that tomorrow is the 1st of June, I realized that May felt really long. Like the span of May felt like months and months and months. Like all of these subtle shifts, all of these different things, all of these collapsing and rebuildings that occurred, all this transformation occurred around me and within me. And it made, like, when I look back to what was going on May 1st, it almost feels like it was a year ago, honestly. Yet at the same time, I was surprised, like, oh wow, it's June already? That sort of thing is more common as you start to weave through time in a different way. Because an hour feels like a minute, and a minute feels like a day. I think that's a fish song. I think that's a line from a fish song, but that's what came in. As we continue navigating time, one of the major aspects of this full moon that's feeling like it must be expressed is that the moon itself is almost exactly conjunct the Great Attractor. We've talked about the Great Attractor before. It is this anomaly, gravitational anomaly in space. It exists from our perspective at 14 degrees of Sagittarius. The moon is at 13 when it's full. It's like a black hole in some respects, in that it is sucking all of the light and energy into it at like 600 kilometers per second. It's literally mind-boggling. And the energy of this, what it represents for us, is an ability to very quickly pull out anything that does not fit anymore. And with it being exactly conjunct the moon, this is unconscious thoughts and patterns. In Sagittarius, which is linked to the higher mind and to learning and exploring, it's all of those things that have held us back. Those unconscious patterns and ideas of what it means to learn, what it means to explore, what it means to be embodied, because we have all this Tauran energy. All of these unconscious, it's coming in to say, all of these unconscious beliefs about what it means to be human, to be in a human body, to be on this earth, to have a relationship with the planet, and how we express ourselves, because the sun is in Gemini. How we communicate that. This full moons are always amazing times for release They're always great times to get into your unconscious, let that bright spotlight shine, and clear out anything that's keeping you from being your full outward expression of self. With it being conjunct the Great Attractor, that is magnified a billion times. A billion times. So if there is clutter that has been building up in the rug of your being, the tapestry of your being, this is a great time to take it out and let it be shook. Let it be shook. And let all of the dust and debris and the not you anymore get sucked into that great space vacuum in the cosmic sky. I keep doing this because the moon is also making this really beautiful grand fire trine. This really beautiful grand fire trine with Hecate conjunct Sirius over in Cancer. The sun's higher self, Sirius, the soul of our soul, is one way we can look at that. Sirius is very connected to the heart, to expanding and evolving our beings. Hecate holds a torch, holds a torch. Why am I saying this? This is not right. I know why I'm saying it, because it's actually Chiron that is this trine. But Chiron is in a square to Hecate and Sirius. Oh, excuse me. Let me. It does not change anything about what I said about Sirius and Hecate. But we are going to pin it because we're going to talk about Chiron first in Aries, which is our I am presence. That's what Aries represents. Chiron is making a beautiful trine to this full moon and the Great Attractor. It's a little loose. Chiron's at 18, but it's tight enough. It's tight enough. And it's a grand fire trine because in Leo, we have Mars conjunct Pallas, which is kind of that feminine Mars energy, conjunct Black Moon Lilith. How's that for a powerhouse of a conjunction? In Leo, courageous, big-hearted Leo. We spoke of the power of the Great Attractor. Mars and Pallas have a lot of debris in their story. Call it debris in their story. This warrior energy, aggressive, hot-tempered, ready to fight at a moment's notice. Those are some of the ways that we've talked about Pallas, that we've talked about Athena, which is Pallas Athena. Some of the ways that we've talked about Mars. But these two energies represent the masculine and feminine drive, the ambition. That place where we are pulled to do the next thing. That place where we are called to do the next thing. Black Moon Lilith is that primordial feminine energy, that energy that will not submit, right? That's one of the ways that Black Moon Lilith has been talked about. So we have these three archetypes in conjunction together in Leo. And they are fiery all on their own. And then they're in this brave, lion-hearted, courageous, creative, fiery energy of Leo. can we start to feel the gift of this trine? That through this brilliant light of the full moon, more about the wounds of the stories that we've told and been told about us is revealed to us, and we can shake it off, like Taylor Swift would say, and allow it to be shaken out, and the Great Attractor come in and suck all the debris away. And now we can come back to Hecate and to Sirius, who are in square to Chiron. And it's fairly tight. It's not super, super tight, but it is enough for us to allow ourselves to kind of lean on that energy, that triple goddess energy of everywhere we've been and everywhere we're going and everywhere we are, all at once. That's part of the energy of Hecate. This is why she's the torch holder, right? She's the guardian of the crossroads and the holder of the torch, because she can hold all of that access. She has that access beyond the veil of time, right? Where she can help illuminate that path for you, so you can see it more easily. And really what she's doing is, like the sun shining on the surface of the moon, she is casting her light onto your torch. She's casting her light onto your torch, making your flame bigger. And then we go into Vesta again, conjunct Uranus. You see how all of these are cycles within cycles? Everything touches everything else in our cosmos. Everything touches everything else in our cosmos. Nothing is separate. I'm feeling called to allow us to just remember that a little bit more deeply. Nothing is separate, including you. Including you. Sirius's love and ability to hold all of that Christ consciousness energy. That's what Sirius is connected to also. With Hecate conjunct is helping us to see a new way around our wounds. That's what squares help us to do. It's a tense aspect. It's helping us to see a new way, find a new way to look at, our perceived wounds, That separateness might be a place to play, that idea of separateness. I would be remiss if I closed this particular energy update without talking about the fixed grand cross with a cardinal kicker that the moon Well, the moon is not part of it. The moon is definitely shining some light on it. A couple of weeks ago, I spoke of Jupiter entering Taurus. There will be a link below to that video, as there will also to the timeline shifting video. As Jupiter has entered Taurus, Jupiter is expanding our access point to the nodes, crossing over last week the North Node, just on the other side, and still very, very, very conjunct. Very conjunct to the North Node. A new player has arrived. A new actor has arrived on this play, on this field. Medusa. I love the archetypal energy of Medusa. A life force so powerful that it literally stops you dead in your tracks. That's Medusa. So much creative life force energy that it literally stops you dead in your tracks. When we think of Kundalini and that serpent rising, that life force rising to the point that it comes out the crown of the head. The lower half of the body is now a full serpent form, and it begins to multiply, giving an entire hairdo of serpents flowing around. That's the medicine, that's the wisdom that Medusa represents. This medicine, this connection to that much creative potential, that much life force energy, is exactly conjunct the North Node in Taurus on this full moon. With Jupiter expanding the entire situation. Because Medusa conjunct the North Node isn't big enough already. Jupiter was like, here, let me make that bigger. There is another energy that Medusa represents, and that is a reclamation energy, a reclaiming of story. And it's interesting because that Mars, Pallas, Athena energy that we talked about earlier, Athena is connected to one of the Medusa stories. There's part of her story that's been told for a long time that it was a curse that Athena placed upon Medusa, that isolated her and made her into the Gorgon with the snakes coming out of her head. I'm going to invite us, because we're playing with destiny and we're playing with time. And Medusa is such a strong symbol for reclaiming and retelling your story, empowering your story, finding your truest path and saying, this is who I am. That is part of Medusa's archetypal energy. So as we're playing with that, I'm feeling called to explore this Athena and Medusa story. Medusa was said to have been part of Athena's priestess temple, and that it was a virginal temple, and that Athena got mad because Medusa was not keen on remaining a virgin. And in this story, I'm not talking about the true meaning of virgin. I'm talking about the current definition of virgin, which means not having sex. However, before we go. So she was having sex and Athena was pissed, right? But then she and Poseidon, Neptune, have sex, and Athena's in love with Neptune. Medusa becomes pregnant. Now Athena's really pissed. Can you see how both of their stories are really not great in this telling? And can you see how it's these two women all of a sudden fighting over this man? And Medusa's punished because of this relationship with Poseidon, and she's turned into a monster who then turns men into stone. Now let's take this story into a different realm of time. Let's rewind and go back to some of the original meanings of some of these words. If we remember, that virgin doesn't have anything to do with sex. It simply means to be whole unto self. It simply means to be whole unto self, complete. Complete. Then Medusa, as part of Athena's virginal priestess temple, is becoming more whole, becoming more complete as part of the training that she's receiving here. So whether she has sex with Poseidon or not is beside the point. What if the story, the narrative that we've been taught, that she was cursed and sent to this island and isolated and left to, torture men who would come to defeat her and turn them to stone? What if, in fact, Athena helped Medusa come into more and 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 more of her full creative potential, to the point that she scared the bejesus out of everyone. And there was a realization, oh, the world isn't quite ready for this yet. The world isn't quite ready for this at this moment. And she self-isolated. She said, okay, wait, I'm gonna go over here and wait for all y'all to catch up. And once you do, I'm back on the scene. I mean, what if, right? What if we're in that moment now? What if we're in that moment now? We are coming into that place where we are almost ready to really start to embody that much creative potential, that much life force. And this is the Taurus North Node. This is the Taurus North Node. That is what we are doing. Collectively, we are coming more and more and more and more and more aligned to our truth, to our full potential, to the full potential of embodied form. This is the thing that lights me up more than almost anything. This and helping guide people on their soul path journeys. Which, links below if you want me to be that Hecate, helping you light your torch, illuminating your path with you. But I said this is a fixed grand cross with a cardinal kicker, and that's where we're going to weave this. So we have that Medusa North Node, Jupiter conjunction in Taurus. Across the wheel, we have the asteroid Haumea, who is the Hawaiian goddess of, she's a fertility goddess, you could say. She's a creative force. She can call forth and create babies from every part of her body. She can call food from the earth. And part of this is because she is in such a keen balance, such a centered balance with Gaia, that her ability to call forth is received with bounty. She's in Libra, which is a cardinal sign, but she's at the very end of Libra, putting her in connection with these early Tauran degrees. Putting her in connection with these early Tauran degrees and in a conjunction mixed sign with the South Node. Also, in a cardinal sign, in the last degrees of Cancer, we have Venus, and this is where the cross comes in. Venus is making her way into Leo 2 days after the full moon. Venus will kick into Leo, And I'm going to talk about that a lot in another video because that's some big energy that's going to be playing out over the next couple of months. So stay tuned. So Venus is bringing in some love energy in our state of belonging, heart-filled belonging energy is one way to feel into that. And across the wheel is Pluto rounding out, retrograding through the last, or the first degree, the 0 degree of Aquarius, making its way back into the 29 of Capricorn, which it will do in July. So you can start to feel, so we have Pluto in fixed energy. We have the south node, the north node. We have Jupiter, Medusa, and then we have all that Uranian and Vestan and Mercurial energy in Taurus. So this is a lot of fixed energy. But we have Maya and Venus in cardinal. What this feels like to me is cardinal energy can have a sense of urgency to it. Like, it's time, it's time, it's time, it's time, it's time. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's do this. It's new, it's now, let's go. I know this because I have a lot of cardinal energy in my chart. It can feel like it's very action orientated and let's get this done. Let's get this moving. It's time, it's time, it's time. Fixed energy, on the other hand, is like, hang on, let's make sure this is all cooked. Let's make sure this is done. Let's make sure we're ready. Which for someone who has a lot of cardinal energy can sometimes feel like you're pulling a bull stuck in the mud, right? But what it actually is helping us to do is to take that moment, take that pause and say, okay, is it ready? Is it ready? And then allow it to be even bigger, even truer, even more complete than it would have been if you just ran for it. It's the tortoise and the hare story. The hare is running, taking these breaks and getting all these things, and the tortoise is making his way. And the end of the story, the tortoise ends up winning the race because the hare got so sidetracked and taken off course and taking these shortcuts and doing all these things. And what it feels like this full moon, Sagittarian energy is also very connected to the truth. Very connected to the truth. So as we are coming into this place where new secrets, this is the South Node in Scorpio, are being revealed, and full moon in Sagittarius is shining a brighter light upon them, we could have this sense of we need to get this old out of here yesterday and get on with the new. Part of what we're being asked to do is to take a moment and make sure that everything is actually ready. Make sure that everything is actually ready. We had a lot of shift of energy over this last month. We've had a lot of shift of energy. And just like after an earthquake, it's important to check all the foundations and make sure nothing's cracked. Make sure that we're building on solid ground. And over the next couple of months, as Pluto moves back into Capricorn, Venus is going to start a retrograde in July through Leo. And Saturn's about to go retrograde. We have a couple of weeks here of like checking everything, making sure that we've laid the foundations for the next forward that we're going. But then we're going to be asked to get internal even more internal, and really review where we've gone and where we're going. Also, we're going to have the nodes switching signs. My invitation, my offering to you is to allow this full moon to really penetrate deep within you. Allow yourself to allow that light to penetrate really deep within. To keep asking, is this true? Is this true? Is this true? Because as we are moving through time, escaping time, as the veil of time, this is the veil that the earth has been within for as long as basically anyone can remember, really. As we are shuffling off that veil, intent is very, very, very important. How we move is going to start to become more moment to moment, and therefore being able to come into a place of, is this true? I mean, these are all things that have always been important. We are now coming into a place, though, where they are vital. They are vital. Before you make a choice, before you turn a corner, before you cross the street, you look both ways. Right? That's what this energy is asking us to do. To say, there's time to pause. There's time to take a breath. To explore our heart space and that place where our hearts and our mind connect and say, okay, here are all the potentials. Here is the entire map laid out before me. Which direction is the truest for me to go in this moment? As we come through this next cycle, there is a beautiful way being unfolded for us to start to touch that place within us. The Great Attractor coming in to clear out all the debris, all the dust that's been clouding our vision. Yeah. All right, I'm leaving us with a little bit of a meditation prompt today. The meditation is to come into your heart space. We've already talked a lot about this. Come into your heart space. Allow the light that's shining through the full moon to come down all the way through your body, to shine that light in those places that have a lot of dust kicked up. You know, like when the sun shines through a dark room, through a curtain, and in the beam of light, you can see all those particles of dust floating around. Find those areas within yourself. Find those areas within yourself and allow, at that moment when you see them, your connection to open to that great space vacuum in the cosmos, in our galaxy, that opens up even wider and sees all that dust and vacuums it up, allowing you to see more clearly your truth, the truth that was being obscured by all that debris. This would be a great practice anytime, but on the day of the full moon, the days leading up and the day or two after, it would be really, really powerful. And allow it to become your own. You know, this is a prompt, this is a way to explore the energy. It is not the only way. And I keep feeling one more little thing tickling me. One more little thing tickling me. We'll save it for the light drop. I can feel it's Saturn wants to come in and talk, but we've already been going for like 45 minutes. And so there will be a link below for cosmic light drops. By the time you're watching this, it will probably be ready. So click that link in the description below. You can also click the link to come get a consult for a soul path journey with me if that calls to you. Come explore the members portal if that calls to you also. All the things. And absolutely, please, please, please like and subscribe to this video and leave me a comment and let me know how you guys are all traveling, what is being revealed to you through this bright light about your truth, about your true soul path. Yes. Okay. All right, my loves. I love you. I love you from, through, and beyond all the dimensions, always.